Chapter 257. The Pool of Lazarus? Batman's eyes lit up instantly, but he seemed to have thought of something and went silent again. No, Ninja Master said that the pool is connected to the devil's territory, and the souls of those who soak in it will be pulled into hell. Master has many children and juniors, and he watched them die of natural causes. He has never let any of the juniors soak in the pool. Batman shook his head and rejected the idea. Devil's territory. Pulled souls into hell. Thea checked the information she knew, but she couldn't tell. Ninja Master was really good to his son-in-law, telling him such a secret? Talia might not even know about these things. Thea instantly abandoned the idea of dragging Batman to Ninja Master. Their relationship was much better than she thought. Looks like I still have to treat her for such a serious injury. Purely using magic to treat it would consume a lot of Thea's body. She didn't want to save her. How did Talia get hurt like this? Batman seemed to be a little reluctant to recall, but he still briefly explained. She was pushed into the chemical pool by Joker? Thea nodded. This was quite in line with Joker's habit. He would jump into the chemical pool to take a bath whenever he had nothing to do. He and Joker could resist the high poison resistance, but Talia's delicate skin couldn't. However, Thea finally thought of a way to treat her through the pool. It was a means between magic and ritual that was first found in the Orb of Horus. The ancient Egyptian pharaohs were crazy about immortality, and they tried all kinds of experiments, both humane and inhumane. They really found some ways to combine witchcraft, magic, and alchemy, and they recorded a few proven effective methods on the handle of the Sphere of Horus. When they were on the Wave Rider, the artificial intelligence Gideon had specially translated a lot of relevant information for Thea. How about this? I have a way to save her, but the ancient magic is different from the modern environment. Some conditions are not met, and I need some time to prepare. Also, Talia's body is too weak now. The effect of magic is to accelerate the body's self-healing, but her current physical condition doesn't have the foundation for recovery. Can you use medical methods to replenish enough nutrients? I'll go back and prepare. You can bring her to Star City in a week for treatment. You know that I've just taken over the Ryan Group, and I'm so busy every day. Thea shrugged, indicating that she could not come to Gotham every day to save his wife. Since he was a free man, he should come to Star City. All right, I'll leave everything to you. In this day and age, it was the patients who accommodated the doctors. Which doctor accommodated the patients? Batman felt that this was normal. He was well-versed in medicine and knew that Talia's body was too weak at the moment. It was not the best time to treat her. The two agreed to contact each other again next time. Thea told him not to wake Talia up by force, and that it would be best if he could keep her under anesthesia. She flew the plane out of Wayne's old house alone. After Thea left his sight, she did not return to Star City directly. Instead, she took a detour to a residential area in Gotham. Thea, long time no see. The one who greeted her with a smile was the little beauty Shadow, who had been abducted from Purgatory Island. How is your father? What you said on the phone was vague. At the mention of her father, Shadow's expression was strange. She was confused, and hopeful. Come and take a look. Thea had always been curious about the court's revival technology. When she returned to Star City, she received a call from Shadow, saying that Yao Fei's heart had miraculously recovered. Thea decided to come and take a look. Shadow was now living alone with her father in an apartment. According to the court's investigation, Yao Fei had been shot in the head. With the help of genetic repair technology, his missing brain tissue had grown back, but no one could say for sure if he could recover his memories. Yao Fei's situation was similar to many vegetative patients. He had a heartbeat and breathing, but his consciousness was almost blank. Shadow could accept this result. There was always hope if he was alive. After learning that the follow-up would depend on the patient's recovery, she rejected the court's arrangement and took care of her father alone. She worked at a Chinese restaurant to support their daily expenses. Thea walked into the small house they had lived in for more than a month. She could tell that Shadow had put in a lot of effort for her father. The air in the room was fresh, and the layout was organized. Old man Yao Fei was lying on the bed with his eyes closed and a serene expression on his face. Other than his messy hair being shaved off, there was nothing special about him. She secretly used the Eye of Horus to observe his condition. The court's diagnosis was correct. Yao Fei's head wound had healed. The main reason he could not wake up was because of his missing memories. This made it difficult for Thea. There were too many things involved in memory, and she did not have a good solution. This was similar to how she erased Steve's memory. Once she erased it, it was gone. Could not be recovered. If the memory existed, it existed. If it did not exist. No matter how powerful she could not make a memory appear out of thin air. I'm sorry, I don't have a good solution. Shadow knew about her supernatural abilities on Purgatory Island. When she heard that Thea could not do anything about it, her eyes darkened. Do you plan to stay in America or go back? Yao Fei was completely insignificant in Sia's eyes, but Shadow was a pitiful woman who deserved her sympathy. My father read a statement on Purgatory Island. We can't go back. Plus, the medical technology here is more advanced. Shadow answered quickly. It was obvious that she had thought about this question many times. Her answer was logical and not rushed. The medical technology here is more advanced. Thea thought to herself. If you wait a few more years, there will be more aliens with superpowers. Each one of them is a walking nuclear bomb. The casualty rate is so high. How can the medical technology not be advanced? However, there was no need to tell Shadow this. Then come back to Star City with me. Gotham is too chaotic. Thea had her reasons for saying this. Barbara had just recovered, and Talia was severely injured. Although the Joker was locked up by Batman again, Batman needed a place to vent his anger. Gotham's criminals were the best target. Although Gotham was full of ordinary people, a fight could cause a scene as grand as Mars crashing into Earth. It was better not to let Shadow see such a violent scene. In comparison, Star City was much safer without Green Arrow. Some people said that superheroes were the source of chaos. This was a little arbitrary, but it was not completely wrong. If Gotham did not have Batman, it would have a different kind of balance. The people would not have to write a will and say goodbye to their families every time they went out to buy groceries. Now, Central City without the Flash and Star City without Green Arrow could effectively prove this point by looking at the positive and optimistic attitude of the citizens. Chapter 258. If you don't mind me asking, what kind of work do you do? Thea couldn't tell if the little girl was still in school or had worked before. She looked quiet and well-educated. She couldn't have dropped out of school early like Oliver, right? I've been studying forensic science, but I didn't graduate. Shadow now had some understanding of Gotham's public security. What capitalist metropolis? Bullshit. It was too chaotic here. Thankfully, Shadow was skilled. Otherwise, she would have died with her comatose father. Forensic science? It seems to be a pretty high-end job. Sia said that she would take care of everything and leave it to her. With her current relationship with the Star City Police Department, no one would say anything even if she didn't do anything. She told Shadow to pack her luggage and set off for Star City. On the way, Thea called a detective from the Star City Police Department and Detective Lance. The new detective, who was working closely with the police, didn't even ask about the person's profession or specialty. She didn't even ask if the person was a man or a woman. Detective Lance was a little dissatisfied with her decision, but he didn't interfere too much. After helping Shadow find a place to live, the Quinn Group had purchased a large amount of land in the slums during the reign of Robert Sr. and Moira. Although Sia had worked hard to bring down the property prices of the entire Star City by 20%, she still had a lot of land in her hands. Knowing that Shadow had a strong sense of pride and was unwilling to accept too much help from her, Sia found a small apartment for the father and daughter to live in. Thea told Shadow to let her know if she needed anything, but she felt that her whereabouts were uncertain. She wouldn't be surprised if she went to another planet one day. She also left Felicity's phone number with Shadow, telling her that she could trust her and that she didn't have to look for her. After a busy day, Thea felt that she hadn't missed anything, so she flew back to the Quinn mansion. She was going to discuss with Moira how to cooperate with Batman to make big news. All the work was carried out in an orderly manner. In private, several senior government officials scoffed at what Quinn Group had done, but it was true that there was no harm to all the interests. They received the money very quickly, but when it came to the specific situation, they neither nodded nor shook their heads. The attitude of a senator named Hammond was particularly bad. After receiving money from the Quinn Group, he didn't even say a single good word. Instead, he mocked Sia and scolded her. In the end, he even used a look of concern for a mentally challenged child to warn Sia that young people should be down to earth and not bite off more than they could chew. "I must kill him." At the dinner table, Moira had been pulling Thea, fearing that she would slap this talkative senator to death. "This is infuriating." On the way home, Thea had been nagging. Several times, she wanted to send the court to catch this bastard in front of her and teach him a lesson. But in the end, she gave up under Moira's persuasion. After calming down, Thea had to admire Superman's good temper. The ugly faces of these people in power, even an earthling like her had the intention to kill, but he, a strong alien, was able to endure it. His self-restraint was really not simple. But calming down was one thing. She didn't intend to let this bastard go. She had even stabbed Ares to death, so why would she be afraid of a senator with an empty title? She even dared to attack Washington when he made her unhappy. But after the two sides met, something happened to him. Anyone could contact her. Thea was going to wait for a month, and when things calmed down, she would kill him. She wrote down this person's name on the first page of the small black book, Senator Hammond of Seaside City, and wrote the date on the side. "Don't do it now." Moira saw her writing action. If she wrote it down so solemnly on the first page, she definitely wasn't going to thank him. She knew Thea's current ability, and she was not a soft-hearted person. She looked around and whispered to Thea, "Understood, he can live for another month." The mother and daughter smiled without saying anything. It was self-evident who this he was. Time passed quickly, and a week flew by. Batman and Thea made an appointment to ask for the address, and then rushed over in his Batfighter in the middle of the night. "This city is very quiet." Damien, who was sitting in the co-pilot seat, insisted on following for some unknown reason. Batman also wanted to spend more time with his father. Thinking that there were no battles in Star City, he agreed after a little hesitation. Now, facing his son's question, he did not know how to answer. There were not many fights here, let alone battles. Without comparison, there would be no harm. Compared to Gotham, where submachine guns would begin to hiss at night, Star City was peaceful and looked like heaven. Was the difference that big? There were millions of people in Star City, but it was really peaceful here. Although Batman had flown through the city in a fighter jet, there were no violent scenes of robbery or murder in the city. Since there were no criminals, there was no need for a superhero, right? Soon, they arrived at Thea and Felicity's secret base. When they met, Batman could not wait to ask, "Your city is really great. What's the secret?" When Thea understood his question, she was a little speechless. What secret was there? The large gangs were all under Malcolm's control, and the few scattered gangs were not a threat at all. The rest of the unemployed were sent back to work, and the active ones were sent to other cities. After working hard for a day, they went to bed early. The small gangs could not find any new blood even if they wanted to. Several factors contributed to Star City's current peaceful and stable situation. After Moira came to power, she had a good reputation and spread her influence to the surrounding cities. In half a year, Star City gained hundreds of thousands of residents, all of whom migrated from the nearby cities that were rescued by the superheroes. "We're a small city, after all." "Small cities are like this," Thea replied embarrassedly. Batman brought Damien and Barbara, whom they had met before. Thea mainly introduced the naughty child to Felicity. After learning that he was Batman's son, Felicity, who had a good relationship with Catwoman, could not help but worry for her friend. "This child is already so big. Can you win against him?" Thea led them to a separate room. As soon as they entered the room, they covered their noses. What a strong smell of blood. That's right. This is a secret technique developed by the ancient Egyptian pharaohs to seek immortality. It's called the blood pool. The effect is a little slow, but there are no after effects. It's suitable for Talia's recovery, Thea explained to Batman as she pointed at the large square pool in front of them. Talia will absorb the essence of the blood to slowly heal her injuries. Optimistically, it will take about a month. If you don't have any questions, shall we begin? When the doctor asked the patient if they had any questions, the subtext was, I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Hurry up and pay for the hospitalization.